Hey everybody, I'm Joe DeGanzik, and this is Smarter Home Life. It is time to talk once again about some smart lighting. I actually haven't really talked about this topic in a long time, and specifically this time I'm talking about Sylvania, or you may find it under the OSRAM name, or you may see it under LED Vance, or is it LED Vance? I don't know. They all mean the same thing. So first of all, I do want to thank Sylvania /Osram /LED Vance. I'm just going to refer to it as Sylvania from this point forward. This is a sponsored episode. They did send in a few products for review, so thank you to them. Just had to get that legal bit out of the way just in case the FTC is watching. And so first off, real quick, let's just go into what they sent in, and then we'll kind of go into how this episode is going to work. So they sent in for review their Zigbee little plug-in wireless gateway. It acts as a bridge between your Wi-Fi network and the lights. They sent in what I just had in my hand, which is their standard A19 screw-in, fully color changing, tunable whites, dimmable smart bulb. And the smart lighting strip, which they call their Rgb W Flex. So it's 6 feet of lighting strip with LEDs that, of course, change color. And the last product, the Gardenspots. These are little stake-in lights that can do some really cool effects and change color and all that other stuff that I just talked about. So I wanted to handle this video a little bit differently. Smart lighting is no longer a category where I can hold up a smart bulb and say, wow, this is the most amazing product you've never heard of, right? This is a category we're all familiar with. It's a smart bulb. It has electronics in it, and whether it's smart lighting strips or whatever variety of lighting, this is no longer an earth-shattering topic. It was a couple years ago, but it no longer is. So I'm going to treat it as, here's my review in general of what I have found with the products, and then I'll go into a little bit of the specs and details and give you a little bit of a demo. So I think we're all familiar with the Sylvania name. I certainly am. They are a lighting company that's been around for many decades. I discovered them back in the 90s. The products I'm reviewing today are the Zigbee products. Sylvania does have this Zigbee wireless bridge. This is something that just plugs into an outlet. You don't have to add it to your network in terms of a physical network. It doesn't have to be plugged into Ethernet. It's a nice compact design, and I think that's great. So these are the Zigbee products that I'm specifically reviewing. They have a Zigbee line that, of course, then works with an app on your phone. It can work with, the various voice assistants, Google and Alexa on Amazon Echo. Then they have an entire other product line that's HomeKit, that's Bluetooth based. So they're totally separate under the same, Smart Plus name. Many of you ask me, you say, all right, why are all these smart lighting products, why are they so expensive, right? What Sylvania is fulfilling, they've had their products on the market for a number of years now, and their products are lower priced. This is not to mean that they're lower quality or they're not solidly built, reliable, good all-around smart lighting products. Sylvania just wants to sell smart lighting products, and they want to fulfill this part of the market, the part of the market that doesn't want to break the bank. You want to have the smart lighting because it's the coolest thing. It can save you some money. You can schedule it. You can hook it up to sensors. You can do all the fun smart home things that I've talked about before. They'd love you to use the app, but they're totally happy with you just bringing it on and connecting it to an existing smart home hub. And I think this is a great philosophy. Where Sylvania has, I think, the advantage is they have a wider product selection than those other guys, and some unique products like the Gardenspots that I'll go into a little bit later that are kind of my favorite product. But they have under cabinet lights that are smart, that'll change in dimming, brightness, and of course in tunable white. They've got par 38s, those big flood bulbs for your outdoor security lights. They've got indoor and outdoor Lightstrip products. They've got those Gardenspots. They've got MR16 floods. They also have some sensor products, contact sensors, motion sensors, temperature sensors, and even smart plugs, and also wireless little dimmer and on-off switches that are all on Zigbee and all compatible with either their smart gateway, or most of these are going to also be compatible with your smart things and your Wink and your otherwise. So they've got this wider product selection. It's generally lower in price. quality built from a company that has a great name and a great reputation. Okay, so talking about the first product, this is your standard A19 60 watt equivalent, 800 lumen smart light bulb. Of course, I can turn it on, I can turn it off. These are pretty simple kind of functions. This is sitting at about 1%, so it doesn't go super low on dimming. And I'm gonna come over here and tap on that light, which is this one. This is the only one that I have in the app right now. Obviously, the little temperature icon is for color temperature. The little sun is for brightness. And of course, the color is actually what the color is gonna be. Now, just in terms of brightness, again, this is comparable to any other 60 watt equivalent smart light bulb that's out there. I'm gonna bring this all the way up. I'm gonna bring this all the way up. It's pretty darn bright. I'm gonna bring this back down, but that's at full brightness. So that's pretty fantastic. Certainly will provide you a lot of light. I'm gonna bring it down to about 30%, which is where I'm gonna leave it. And we can go into color temperature, which will go all the way from, we'll go into the blue area here. Actually, that was brightness. See, it's a little bit, the app it's a little bit easier to grab the wrong control. Not a huge fan of the app, but it does work. So I'm gonna do this, and this is my color temperature slider, so I can go all the way from kind of a nice cool daylight 6500K down to a nice cozy. We'll bring it down to about 2000K, it's bringing it lower. If I do a color change as well, so if I tap on this and hold it, I'll get my color wheel, and we can go into the kind of the more pure, kind of a little more bluish white. We can go to the reds, which is a nice, pretty nice saturated red color. Purples and blues. I wish the blue was a little bit more saturated and deep. It's not, but it'll be okay for most consumers and most users. Go to a nice little cyan. The cyan is pretty nice. A nice deep green, which is nice, kind of a yellow green. Overall, it's a good smart bulb. This is, again, it's Zigbee. This is compatible with all your different smart hubs, and of course, Sylvania's own little wireless bridge, and sells for roughly about $28, depending on where you can find it, $28 to $30. I think it's a good bargain. So the next product is the Flex Rgb W, or in layman's terms, the good old LED smart light strip product. 36 watts to power this entire strip of LEDs, which is again 6 feet. We'll go all the way up in brightness just to show you. That's 100%. It's pretty bright. Yes, it may not be like some of those other guys out there, but for my purposes, if I just needed accent lighting, this is plenty bright at maximum brightness, and we'll go through a couple of the colors as well. I'm gonna bring this down so I'm not so crazy bright. And one of the other things, speaking of brightness and levels and so forth and light strips, one thing that I like what Sylvania is doing with this particular product is you get 6 feet of it, and that's roughly for about $45. Instead of giving it to you in 2 pieces, they're giving it to you in 3. So I have all of it connected right now, and I'm gonna take and I'm just gonna pull this last piece off, and I'm just gonna move this over here. There we go, that looks good. Move the box. So you get, instead of 2 pieces of 3 feet, you get 3 pieces of 2 feet. Now, this is still, you can still cut this, and there are cut marks about every 6 or 7 inches or so on the strip that are marked that you can cut it to length if you need to. We'll jump to the color wheel. You can see here, if I can get this to respond, there we go. Some really nice, deep, beautiful greens. The blues are nicely saturated as well. We'll go to the reds, really nicely saturated reds. Again, I can go into the effects just as I talked about with I think I did speak about this on the A19. If I did not, this is some different effects that you can run, and you can customize them as far as what they're going to do. We'll go into a color loop here, and I'll go in and customize this so it changes a little bit faster. So you can do things like color loops. You can have some preset effects as well. So a nice blue and maybe a nice fireplace. So overall, for $45, it's a pretty good light strip. It's plenty bright, some beautiful saturated colors, plus your share of white light. Okay, so for the third and final product of the review, before I get to the app and the kind of closing information, These are the Gardenspots. These are outdoor little lights that you stake into the ground. You get 9 of them on 14 feet of cord, and you can expand them all the way up to 28 feet and 18 lights. This is by far my favorite product of the 3, and probably my favorite product of all of Sylvania's Smart Plus line. And now you're gonna say, well, wait, you have the box here, you have nothing in your hand, and you're not holding the app. What's going on? Well, long story, they've somehow disappeared from the backyard. But not before I could take video and photo of them, so I'm gonna run through all that. You can, again, like I said, you can go through all the different colors. They're beautiful, saturated colors. I had these set up for the holidays. They looked really, really wonderful. You can run them through the color loops. You can do all the different things that you can do with them, as I've done with the previous 2 products that I just have demonstrated to you, and they're just beautiful. The cool part about them is they do light up the immediate area, and they have a spotlight effect that also has a little bit of a prism effect. So you get this color shift based on whatever color or white light that it's putting out. They're really just beautiful lights. They can really amp up the beauty of your backyard at night. They can light up your house. I was using them to light up a block wall and some plants. They're really, really just gorgeous and surprisingly bright as well. I was not sure if they were going to be bright or dim. Really, really great looking lights and a unique product. These start at $65 for the basic, and then of course you got the expansion packs as well, and goes with, can be paired to any Zigbee controller, or of course to the Zigbee wireless gateway that Sylvania puts out. So the last thing I want to talk about is the app, which to me overall is not an awesome experience. I'm just going to go into devices and hit the plus sign. I'm gonna add lights and plugs, and it's going to, I'm gonna do this, go next, and we're gonna see, it's gonna show up here. We've got flex, which is already on there, waiting for the light to come up. Just takes a couple seconds for usually to show up here. And there it is. I'm gonna turn this one off because I don't need the flex, and I'm gonna hit next. Unselect are being removed from your account. Well, I didn't want that. See, there's another strange thing. I didn't want to add it, but now it's being deleted. You have this plus, you have this little switch icon up here, which you would think would just turn it on and off, but no, this comes up with a different way of showing, different way of getting into the current settings of how the default appearance, brightness, and so forth would act. What looks to be the infinity symbol, but actually turns out is for effects. And this is a nice set of effects that you can apply. Where I found is that it's a challenge once you tap something that's going to go between 2 different types of colors or color temperature. If you tap this settings icon and you change it, and then you apply it, and then you go back, and you assume that that setting is now kind of saved and you can retrieve it, it doesn't work. Now the other question would be is, all right, I have this light, and maybe I have a couple of other lights, or maybe I just have this one light and I want to have it saved to a scene so I can I can go back to it very quickly, and perhaps that scene could be recalled via a voice assistant. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm like, all right, where do I add the scene? Is it under this thing? Oh, that's the effects. It's not under favorites. It's not under the camera. Where do I do that? Okay, I see scenes here with the sensors. I don't have any of those. How do I add a scene? It turns out, after some research, that you have to add a group first. So let's see, I only have one device, so I can't add a group. Oh, there's groups. Okay, so I'm on home. I add a group. I'll call it group of 1 just to keep it simple. I'm gonna say done. Please add a device. Oh, there's a check mark. Okay, updated the group. That's great. So now I have a group of 1 item of 1 light. Now how do I make a scene? I see 0 scenes. Maybe if I go into the light somehow, I can now add a scene. No, I have to go into, do I have to go to the group? All right, here's the group, configure group. How do I make a scene? I tap on it. It's not intuitive, unfortunately. So these are some of the challenges that I have that you may also run into. I'm going to recommend that you might want to add these to your existing smart home controller, or use these with a different app. There are multiple different apps that actually can link in. You may have heard of Stringify, Yonomi. Of course, obviously there are the other smart home hubs I've talked about, which may have some better interfaces. In fact, I added a couple of the lights to SmartThings with no problem. They added really nicely, and there's a different color interface. There's a different way to add scenes and presets, of course, within SmartThings, and I find it to be a little bit more intuitive sorry Sylvania, than their own app. Of course, you can go in here. This is on the third tab here. You can go in and add things like schedules and add wake up lights, vacation modes, TV simulations. So some kind of interesting, some interesting features, again, that are unique. My overall feeling on it is that it's a good lane. It's a good lane of traffic to be in. It's a good line of products to get, especially if you're budget conscious. I do think it's excellent. So that wraps it up, perhaps a little bit longer, but just wanted to get all this information out there and put all these products into one review for you. Thanks again to Sylvania for sending those products in. It's been fun to take a look at them, and I especially enjoyed the Gardenspots products, which I think you will too. So anyways, as always, I'm Joe DeGanzik. I'm always available for your questions. You can head over to the special mini site in the forum, smarterhomehelp.com. Send those in. I'm available for consulting for tough projects, building a new home. Those are great. It's a great resource for you to get some specific kind of one-on-one help. And otherwise, make your home just a little bit smarter every single day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.